because my job is to be a blessing. And I've figured out this a long time ago. My job in life is to be a blessing. So if I look at my life as that job and not roofing, then I'm not focused on money.
Tulsa Talks is the podcast that is inspiring people to have everyday meaningful conversations to gain perspective and help the world.
Welcome to Tulsa Talks. Our guest today is Jeremy Newkirk. He is a local roofer, and our discussion is focused around the impact of small businesses. Jeremy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
How did you land in the roofing business?
Well, I was cleaning a bar outside of Tomball, Texas, almost 15 years ago. Cleaning the bar at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and a roofer came in, and we had a conversation for about an hour, and he said I needed to come and check out what we're doing, and it changed my life within a matter of 2 weeks.
Wow. So how did you enter the field of roofing? What did he have you do?
Man, just do what they said. Go knock on doors and ask to inspect people's roofs for hail damage or storm damage. And that's what I did, man. And it worked. I went to the biggest houses in the biggest neighborhoods and just drove around, knocked on doors, and jumped on roofs, and I barely knew what I was doing. But
was it directly after a storm, or was it just like in the middle of whatever season?
No, it was in the middle of and it was the end of summer. It was October, so yeah, it was not storm season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever done roofing yourself, like physically ripping the roof shingles off or putting them back on?
Yeah, high school. I actually didn't do a lot of steep pitch roofing. I did more flat roof with my uncles in Chicago.
Flat roof,
tar.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a lot of peeling up roofs and then putting them back down. It's very hard and hot labor. I hated it. I only did it for one summer, and it was I didn't want to do that anymore.
That's brutal work. I did that one summer. We had a major hailstorm hit southeast Texas, where I was raised, and I ripped roofs off one summer. First real physical work that I did. I'd hung out with my dad on construction sites. He built metal buildings like we're sitting in here today. And I started that when I was 7, getting tools, putting them up, driving forklift around. But roofing was my first real physically demanding job. And I'm with you. I appreciate those guys that do that for us. Highly appreciate that level of physical fitness and ability to withstand that environment of being up on a roof that bakes you.
Yeah.
It's like being in an oven.
Yeah, middle of summer, man. That's where a siesta is from, right? You literally will take 2 to 3 hours off in the middle of the hottest point of the day and then get back at it. And it's, I've seen homeowners, like I've gotten calls before, they're like, well, they're still laying around. It's like, yeah, it's 100 degrees out there. Like, you guys, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, they're working smart.
They're working smart. And it's, that 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon is not the best time to be working.
Yeah. We pushed through it, and we hurt ourselves doing that. Yeah. Some people got physically sick because they weren't smart enough to take that time of rest.
Yeah. Yeah, heat stroke is a real thing, man. I don't care what your skin color is. It will come after you, dude.
Yeah. So you have a small business. Tell us about your business model. You have a roofing company.
Yeah.
And you hire subcontractors. You have a team that works with you on a regular basis.
Yes. The team that I've worked with we've worked together for the past, I've been running my business in Tulsa for going on 6 years.
Okay.
And I've been using the same crew for 6 years. I've tried a couple other crews, but the main crew that I've used is just fantastic, man. They're professionals. They work with a lot of other roofing companies. That's the model across the board, unless you go up north, where there's a lot of union rules, like in Illinois. Contracting is just different. The laws are a little different. And so down south, Texas, Kansas here, a lot of places it's contracted labor. And I've roofed in New Mexico, Texas, Montana, South Dakota. I've been all over the plant or all over the states. And I would argue that the Hispanic crews that I use are 10 times better and more efficient than the 2 or 3 man crews that I have worked with in the past up in Montana. It's just like the incentive to do the work is just different. And they've just been fantastic. So
what do you do for the business? What do you do for your business? Why does your business exist instead of a homeowner just going out there and getting their own roof?
Yeah. So my job is to make sure that my guys stay busy, right? And that's marketing, that's talking to people. I built my business on networking, right? And the difference between a good roof and a bad roof is not the guys working on the roof, it's the person managing the process. Because there's a disease in this business called good enough, right? And if you don't have the right materials, the guys doing the job, it's going to be good enough, right? And you can blame them if you want, but it really isn't their fault. They're trying to get the job done in a timely manner, like they've been asked to. And there's some things where, if there's rotten wood, they're not just going to pass on that. Some crews do. And that's
but not these guys, because they care what they do.
That's right. Not the guys that I'm running with. But what I've seen in the past is if I don't maintain a proper count of this, all these different items that go on a roof, and I don't know how that process goes on, there's a chance for error that can happen. And I've seen that working for other companies. I see a lot of, like, the biggest problem when people get a new roof is the company that does it doesn't pull all of the felt off the roof, right? That you can't see the exposed wood. You're just seeing something covered up with felt. Well, a lot of times wood rot isn't something you can feel, but it's something you can see before it starts becoming a problem.
Different color?
A different color, right. The wood starts dry rotting or whatever is going on. It does not, it makes itself very evident, but you have to pull all the felt back to be able to see that. And so a lot of times I'll get on people's roofs and they're like, well, I got a leak and everything looks fine. And I've had other roofers say everything's fine. I'm like, well, yeah, but you have 2 layers of felt on this roof that I just saw when I lifted this shingle up. And you most likely have wood rot that wasn't addressed the last time this was changed. And that's what's happening, especially when you have like a leak in some really wide span open place where there's no flashings or anything like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't usually happen. Gravity is really good at pushing water down the slope of a
Not
roof.
sitting there, no reason for it to be trapped, no reason for it to slow down.
That's right.
No reason for it to infiltrate through the wood. It just sheds.
Yeah, and so you really, the number one thing you can do when you're doing your roof is make sure that all the felt is pulled off. They're not putting another layer on top of it. And that's a big one. Like a lot of companies or if they don't have a good management style or people managing the job and they don't have like some form of crew expectations. Like my guys are required to take pictures of everything in the process. I'm there first thing in the morning, but I want pictures of everything all day long. So I have my company cam that my crew chiefs have a link to. And so they get paid $1 for every single photo that they take, up to $150. So it adds $150 to the entire job if they're giving me all the photos that I require. They can do 2 of the same photo for all I care, but I want to be able to see, is the valley flashed properly? Are the head walls checked? Is there step flashing in the proper places? I want to see all the decking. Like I want pictures of all that decking, because in the future, if there's ever any issues or there's any questions, I want to be able to give the homeowners proof that this was done, this was done, this was done, this was done. These were all checked and they were all taken care of.
And you have receipts to back up that you've bought a cohesive system of products
Yes.
that work together in unison.
Well, so you have to. So for homeowners to get specific warranties, like wind warranties, so you know those old style shingles, they call them 3-tabs?
Oh, yeah.
People use those for ridge caps, right? That has changed entirely. For the past decade at least, most roofing brands like Owens Corning, Certainty,
Yeah.
if you use those 3-tabs as a ridge cap shingle, it doesn't qualify for the specific wind warranties that they have, right? Because they're not a designated ridge cap shingle. They're not designed for that. And so you have to make sure to get proper warranties, you have to make sure stuff is installed properly, but it also a lot of people like to use 3-tabs for starter shingles, right? It's a little cheaper. But those starter shingles are not designed, or those 3-tabs are not designed as starter shingles. They don't have the same adhesives, they're not designed the same way. And so you can't get wind warranties if you don't put starter shingle on specifically, if you don't put nail caps, like a lot of people like to use staples on their underlayment, those will void a wind warranty. And you just can't get the same warranty from the manufacturer if you don't use certain products.
Yeah. I have been told about roofing a little bit in the past, and I've been told that it was something like we see these trucks and vans, some older cars that have their paint peeling because auto manufacturers use the wrong primer with that paint. Have you ever seen that? These cars that just have these huge...
Yeah, large oxidation and stuff.
Yeah, and paint just peeling off and seeing the primer because it didn't bond right.
Right.
And is it right that you have to use a certain type of felt or certain type of shingles, something about that detail in there as well?
Well, yeah, the brand matters.
Yeah, I mean, you have to use the same brand and you have to buy this product from the same system. It's a systematic approach to getting it done.
Well, yeah. So again, with the manufacturer warranties, you want to be buying the same brand starter shingle, the same hip and ridge shingle, the same field shingle. And then some of these brands have specific accessories that go along with their stuff.
Yeah.
GAF, they have a fantastic boot. It's a permanent boot that goes over all of your pipes. Not everyone makes those. You know, it's one of those things where it's just an additional accessory. If you want that, you can put that on any roof and they're not going to ding you with a warranty.
Okay.
But you have to have a lot of the manufacturers, you have to have at least 3 of those items on the roof. So the ice and water shield goes in the valleys, around all the pipe jacks, around the chimneys. Up north, ice and water shield is required around the entire perimeter of the roof, or at least 2 feet past the interior wall, right? We're not required that. We don't have the snowpack that they do up there. Like in Florida. Florida's a totally different animal. You have to seal down every single shingle all the way, like with roof tar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a completely different animal. But they're doing, they say there's hurricane force winds. You have to have inspections. Like I would argue Oklahoma's probably one of the least regulated roofing industries.
Yeah, that's my next question.
Yeah.
Pre-recording, we were talking about what does it take to become a roofer in Oklahoma?
Yeah, $75 and proof of a general liability insurance.
And that qualifies you, gets you licensed to be a roofer. With all of this myriad of details that need to be addressed, $75 and proof of insurance, you have your license. You're in business.
Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, you don't even have to pass a test of any sort. And what's crazy is like all the tests that they could acquire are like all it would be is just the instructions on every single package of shingles and whatever accessory you're buying. Right? You can learn how to put a roof on just by reading the package. It will tell you. It's right there. And that's with everything. But yeah, the lack of, I mean, I'll tell you this, we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Owasso is the only city in the area that requires a permit. Now, if you're working on like a historical home in downtown Tulsa, you have to work off of those permits and stuff like that. But everything else, they don't require a permit here. That's crazy for one, because it doesn't give any sort of like information to the city of like, hey, is this? You think it would help the city to identify issues, you know?
I used to be the person that had a problem with the permitting and the standards that it took to be able to meet doing things. And in retrospect, I realize how good of a practice it is for the city to get involved, because when I do something to my house, I'll probably sell it one day.
Yes.
And somebody else is going to buy something. And with that permitting process, our community ensures that whoever the next owner is getting something worth having.
Well, it ensures. So think about this. Sears used to sell you a house that came on a train. The only reason they don't do that anymore is because at the time, they didn't have electrical, plumbing, and air conditioning. Those are the only 3 trades in Oklahoma that are required when you're building a structure like that. They may ding you on some framing stuff if it's a little wonky, but for the most part, they're going to leave you alone on framing. But if you can light someone on fire, if you can flood their house, or you can mess with their AC unit, like those are the things that require, and that really is important. But that, like, since those inventions, people have really stopped having the community just go and build their home. And then now we're seeing these, you know, like you go into these 1920s homes, some of these are Sears homes that came in on a truck.
Yeah.
And they're wonky. And so it's permitting is I think it's great. It's just, you know, we don't want to become California. We don't want the over-regulation, but at least let's have someone come out there, because it's going to keep the contractor honest. Hey, I can't just wing it. Because the truth is, we know this in our government. If you give people the ability to be dishonest, they're going to be dishonest across the board. And so, you know, to save a buck. I'll tell you one right here. So new builds, a brand new building is required to have a 1-inch by 2-inch drip edge around the entire perimeter of the roof, right? It should have a metal drip edge on it as well to protect it from rot. But that is not required, and they don't do it. Same with valley flashings and different types of flashings on the roof, right? It would be better if they did, and it would make that homeowner's house, it would make it so they didn't call me 5 years in, but they just don't have to. They're not required to do it. And we're talking about something that costs like less than $300 to do to the entire house. So it's not a large
and
ticket
multi-$1,000 projects, talking about redoing roofs. So it's a very small percentage.
Correct. If that was a requirement, it would just help people in a huge way, not have these issues 5 years down the road. They're like, man, I thought I had this new house. You shouldn't be having problems with your roof for at least the first 10 to 12 years.
Unless there's storm damage.
Unless there's storm damage. But other than that, you should not be having major leak issues without storm damage.
Right.
On a brand new structure.
Right. So we dove deep into roofing, how it's done, why it needs to be done a certain way, and our idea of how our government could step in and help make sure that homeowners receive a good service and product. As simple as roofing is, there's all these details that must be addressed so that people can live a good life. It's just a roof.
It's just
but
it protects everything.
But it protects everything.
Yeah.
The impact of local business is what we're talking about today. And your role is in the roofing industry. You've learned over time what it takes to supply a good service and product to the end user. This wasn't brought to you. You didn't have all of this knowledge and understand all of the idiosyncrasies of this overnight. Is that right?
No, not at all.
how long did it take you to be able to proficiently do a local business and understand all the ins and outs, navigating? And we're just talking about the product so far and the service that you provide. There's all this underlying things as far as making sure that you're staying compliant, making sure that you're taking care of your finances, making sure that you're doing your marketing, making sure that you're doing a lot of other things. And this is just kind of the end product that all of that other support, or it takes all of that other support to pull off as a local business owner. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you just, when you own your own business as an entrepreneur, you have to, for a while there, until you can outsource it, until you're actually profitable, you have to do everything yourself, right? You have to be your own marketer. I built my business on networking, right? We know each other through networking,
yeah,
right? And so the way I approach networking is, I'm not here to sell anybody. I'm here to add value. So where are you at in your entrepreneur journey that I can help you pinpoint issues that you could fix really quickly, right? I've helped people set up their Google profile sitting there on their phone having coffee with them, right? Because there's simple things that people don't know how to do, like start an LLC. They'll pay companies to start an LLC for them when all they need to do was go to the Secretary of State and pay him $100, right? And then you get tied into that. Like I knew one guy, he wanted to start a moving company. So he went and did that. Well, by the time I talked to him, he had already started LLC. And I asked him a question. I said, hey, did you do your LLC or did you pay someone? He's like, no, I paid someone. I was like, well, that explains why you're getting them trying to get you to trademark your logo. There's no reason you need to trademark your logo. You're not successful yet. There's no reason to spend $5,000 on having them do something for you that you don't need. And it was like, he just didn't know. He was about to get them to
get hammered for $5,000
for $5,000 to trademark his logo because they were the same people that did his LLC, right? And so their job is to help you with this mundane task that you don't know how to do yet, to sell you on something that, like, dude, you only need to trademark your stuff once you start going. And you've got a big company. There's really no, if you're a local company, you worrying about a trademark is the least of your worries. And so I told him that. I was able to help him with that. And, you know, it's just like, hey man, anytime you need, that's where I find networking is most beneficial for me. Because if I can give people value without being, hey, I can do your roof, I can do your roof, they're gonna remember me when they do have a problem, because everybody lives under a roof. And so that my job is already known. Everybody knows what I do, but how can I give you, because my job is to be a blessing. And I've figured out this a long time ago. My job in life is to be a blessing. So if I look at my life as that job and not roofing, then I'm not focused on money.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's easy to be like, okay, how can I talk this person into wanting to get a new roof? Because repairs can be fairly profitable, but doing a new roof, that's where the money is. And that's what most companies are about, is they want to sit someone in front of. There was a very big company here in town that
give us a name. Give us a name. No, joking.
I go to this guy's house and he says, Jeremy, do you think I have a $52,000 roof? I said, your insurance company would probably give you 27. You got some big skylights back there. And he said, this certain company spent 6 hours between 3 guys trying to talk me into a $52,000 roof. I said, that's crazy. And he ended up writing me an amazing review that was like, don't go with, choose the best. I was like, okay, you got it. And so, Jeremy Newkirk. And so that is, a lot of businesses are in the business of making money. That is not my business.
Yeah. Pre-recording, you told me you had 3 things that your motto, your life was centered around, which you just named one of them. You're to be a blessing. The second one was to educate, and the third one was to be truthful. So blessing by educating and being truthful.
Yeah, man. If I can tell people where they need to go, like, A lot of people don't.
I'll tell you where to go.
A lot of people don't need a new roof. They need to know what they need to do next with that roof in their home ownership journey, right? Most people aren't taught how to deal with their home in general, right? Maintain their home or whatever. And then on the insurance side, a lot of people don't understand that after 12 to 15 years, depending on the insurance company, your policy, so your insurance company legally can change your policy by sending you a letter in the mail.
That you never read.
That no one ever reads. I mean, it's rare. You've got a very anal person that reads every single letter.
Yeah, that's actually me.
Right, and good. And that means you're ahead of the curve and you're going to be able to deal with your problems. Most people don't, like, in life, we know that we fear the things we don't know.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know anything about that, you're going to avoid it.
Right, yeah. Sweep it under the rug. It's going to be okay.
Right. And that it's never going to be okay. The longer you avoid a situation, the more costly it's going to be every single time. I've done it in my life. I mean, man, try skipping a late fee on your car. See how that works for you.
Yeah. How many people out there have something that you need to deal with that you've not because you don't want to address it? It's not good practices.
No, it's not a good practice. And I mean, even in my own life, there's
you can't think of something right now that you've not had strongly taken care of, can you?
My body. I mean, I should be working out more than I am. Right. And it's just one of those things where it's like, hey man, you need to reset that goal and write that goal down and make it that 3 days a week like you want, rather than just 1 or 2, maybe.
Yeah, I think almost all people, if not all people, have something that they could do better that's kind of pricking them in the side that they're just not taking action.
I could definitely be a leader. I could hire people. If I hired people, I'm reading this book right now, 11 Rings by Phil Jackson.
Okay.
The coach of the Bulls.
Yeah.
And it is an amazing leadership book. And I'm learning so much about it, but like I struggle being a leader because I'm a doer, and I'm gonna get it done, and this, and delegating is not my strong suit.
I have been where you are years ago, and you said earlier that to start an entrepreneurial venture, you have to be a man that wears all of the hats. And then when the finances change, you can start subcontracting that out or partnering up with people. And you also said that networking was very crucial to you. Yeah. And what I've found is that if you blend those things where you find people that can do things and you somehow get them paid, because I've always had enough resources to pay the things that were most important in my life. And you bring those people in and you allow them to do what they do, that you might not make the mistakes if you have the right people, that you've been introduced to those people that are ethical, that are not going to try to get you to trademark a $5,000 thing that you don't need to do.
Right.
But you find the right group of people and you live life with them, letting them stay in your lane, you stay in your lane. Then those people will introduce you to more people that you could make more money than spinning your wheels trying to do something that you don't do.
Right.
So what you just said was, I'm in the middle of this journey of awareness of helping incorporate other people into my life, and I need to stop doing everything and do what I do.
Right.
Best.
Yeah. Well, and I would argue what I do best is communicate with people.
Do you communicate? Okay, so maybe you don't need to take that step into leading other people. Maybe you need to just stay communicating with those people directly.
Yeah, but someone's got to be the leader. Someone's got, when you're running a business and the difference between $1 million and 10 million is your leadership, right? Because I can't do.
It's your team.
It is your team. And I don't have a team other than my crews that do the work. I generate all of the leads, all of the marketing and everything like that. And that's great. But when storm time comes, I'm running like a chicken with my head cut off, and I hit everybody. Like I get everybody.
You get there?
But I could be doing more. I could be signing more contracts and pushing work off a little bit, because I'm really good at that. I will turn around a job within a week, and that's beneficial to the homeowner, but it's not as beneficial to me because it's taking up my time. right? It's my time away from new customers. I've already got a contract with this one. Like, they can wait another week, or you know what it is. But also, like,
and these customers aren't getting hurt by waiting.
No. If someone, hey man, we had one last year where the tornado came through in Sapulpa and ripped off a corner of their entire house. We were out there within a day and a half, completely redoing the entire house. I mean, we had tarps out the night of, but like the entire house was ruined because it was exposed. I think that tornado came through at like 2 o'clock in the morning or something.
It had some rain with it.
And just drenched their house. They were out of the house for.
So the roof was off. Rain wasn't going into their house.
Yeah. We had tarps up that, like, it was an emergency tarp that, shout out to Air Dry, that did that. But like, we were able to, get everything put together and get the roof put on within 1.5 days of that happening. So that is,
So if you
possible.
if you have a backlog and these people are waiting on you and they need your services to a certain degree, but they're going to be okay for indefinitely. I mean, because they have some damage, and then you have this emergency thing come up. How do you handle that as far as keeping your schedule the same?
Well, we'll grab, man, you just go, you just get it done. So I have up to 5 crews at a time. And so I can handle a lot of roofs at a time. I mean, technically I could do like 7 roofs a week, depending on the size of those roofs. I try not to, but like, man, you got to work when the sun is shining, or when, like in roofing, this is the season. This is when you got to work. You're not going to be working in November and December, most likely. So get to work. And you just work. I mean, I've worked 18-hour days, no problem, during storm season. That only lasts for a couple weeks, where you're, trying to get as many tarps on people's roofs. Hail, for the most part, doesn't cause leaks. Right. And so it's the wind damage. That's when you get run around like crazy, like we had a couple weeks ago. That was, or like a month ago.
Yeah, there was a lot of wind. I didn't know. We didn't experience any wind damage on any of our things, but I noticed it was windy.
Yeah.
Do you know what the top wind speed is, since you are a roofer guy?
Man, I think it was at like 69 miles an hour, something like that. I think some people up in Owasso, where they had that tornado, it was upwards of 90 miles an hour.
Without the tornado, just 90-mile-an-hour winds.
No, I don't know.
I mean, that's what I've seen here in Tulsa. I've seen 80 to 100-mile-an-hour winds without tornadoes, just wind gusts in the springtime.
I saw 90-mile-an-hour winds with hail one time come across Montana. That was crazy. The hail went through the window into the drywall. It was discs. They were like this, and they were hard little discs.
Discs,
that were just
not round. They were discs.
They were round discs that were like this thick, and they were flying so fast. There was one of them that made it through the window into the drywall hallway right behind it. I mean, it was wild. It just this indentation. It had melted already by the time I was there.
Little flying saucers.
Just little flying saucers, dude. It was crazy. So yeah, I mean, I saw one time I was in New Mexico when I was working for the insurance companies. There was, those where the semi trucks back into the warehouse, docks that go down, and it's the corner of that warehouse had peeled up, and it had an iron pillar right there with concrete on the bottom of it, holding that roof up. Yeah. It had peeled it back just like a soda can, and that pole was sticking, 40. However long it was, 20, 30 feet up in the air, straight up with the whole roof bent backwards. It was wild. So yeah, there's some crazy wind out there.
I have learned about people, when they fit where they fit, they can be purpose-filled or purpose-driven and passion-filled. And Jeremy, you are that guy in the roofing industry.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you coming in today. Don't know if you guys know, but local businesses, small businesses, do almost 50% of the work that's done, the revenue generated by the United States of America. Almost 50% of all of the things that happen here, the money that is built, the things that occur in the way that we live, is because of people like Jeremy. Jeremy, thank you for taking time to share your life with us today.
Thank you, sir. So good to be here.
We are here to help you discover or develop your passions, how you can use them, and why you exist. How can we help you help others better?